right. So our guest tonight for the Monday Night Success Zone call is Blake Berger. Blake has been with us. His first full month was April of this year. Last month he issued 36,000, and he's on track to issue over 50,000 in the month of July. He's never done anything like this before. He is truly a breath of fresh air in our organization. I am grateful every day that I got to meet Blake and that he's part of this team. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear his story. One last time, if there's people that y'all think should be on here, we only have 150. We should have 450. One last time, go text everybody, drag them, pull them, bring them into your office, whatever. Let's get as many people within the sound of Blake's voice as possible, because I know you guys are going to get a lot from this. So, Blake, thank you for being on the call with us. I truly appreciate it. And did I just cut everybody off? Can you guys hear me or no?
I can hear you.
Okay, there you are. All right, good. Man, the screen changed. I was like, crap, I just ruined the whole thing. You kicked everybody out. Well, thank you, Blake, for being on the call. For those that don't know your story, tell us a little bit about your background and how you found Family First.
I've done a lot between here and getting to where I'm at now. I'm 27 years old, so I've had, a bunch of jobs. I've worked on a sport fishing boat for 3 years. I've taught skiing and snowboarding for a year. I did for about 4 years in special education as a paraeducator, working with special needs children and adults in a classroom setting. Before all that, I used to do moving jobs, odd jobs, haul out, anything to make a buck when I was younger. I've worked retail at Target. I've worked some restaurants when I was in high school. But I had a friend that was in the business for a while, and we always kind of asked him, hey, how do you have a Lamborghini, a nice house, RVs, boats, bunch of kids, and still have all this nice stuff? So he just kind of told me, hey, I do insurance. Really? That seems kind of hard to believe. But he hit me up last year in July, said, hey, dude, you want to get licensed? I was like, yeah, what's it take? Like, honestly, it's like $500 or $600 and it's a pain in the butt course. All right, cool. It's like the worst thing I have to lose is $500 or $600. I'll give it a roll. So I tried to do the course the most I could while I was working on the sport fishing boat last year, but there's no internet on the boat I worked on, so I'd basically do it in between trips when I was home. Took my licensing test. Gosh, I want to say it was October 30th. Did my fingerprints, and then November 22nd, I got my Ricardo Lara state licensed. Got appointed with a bunch of other carriers at a different IMO. That didn't work out, and then this opportunity came up with Family First. So I came over here, got some carriers, and hopped on the phones.
Nice. All right. Well, so for those that don't know, Ricardo Lara is the insurance commissioner in California. So we're like, what is this? I got to get one of these Ricardo Lara licenses. Yeah, it's non-resident for most of y'all. Just pay the fee. All right. So what have been the three biggest challenges for you in the last 4 months, from going from brand new, not really ever selling before, to like issuing 50 grand in July?
Honestly, mindset's been a huge one. Believing in what we're doing. The other real big thing has been, kind of falls in mindset as well, but committing to the program. I know a lot of people get scared when they go to do that lead order. It's a non-negotiable for me at this point. I have leads that charge every day. And then the other thing is, there's no necessarily boss, right? We're kind of our own people here. The other thing's been sitting down, putting the time in, doing the thing, making the dials, getting on the phone, talking to people. Because I don't really have anyone that's going to tell me, hey, it's 8 o'clock, where are you? You got to show up for yourself in this business. That's the one thing that kind of took me a little while to get used to, is like, hey, I don't have to clock in at XYZ time, but I do. If I want to make money, I got to show up. I got to buy the leads. I got to make the phone calls. I got to put the work in if I'm going to get to this spot. And that's been kind of tough, but we're like 4 months in now, and I'm here. I'm here for it.
Nice. So you said believing in what we are doing. What do you mean by that? Why was that a struggle?
Um, it was hard at first. as far as rejection goes on the phone, a lot of people, oh, I don't want it. Oh, I don't need it. Da 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 da. I've gotten to the point now where I build enough value in the product that it makes sense for these people. I just spoke with a lady today and she's like, oh, well, I'm paying, $150 a month at a funeral home. I just set it up 6 months ago. I was like, cool. What's that look like for your family if you pass away next month? She's like, well, like, yeah, they're going to have like less than $1,000 to pay for your funeral. That sucks, right? You'd want your family to not have to come out of pocket to pay for your funeral, and you were doing what you thought was going to help. But ultimately, I can find you day one immediately effective coverage today. It's 15 grand in coverage. I know you're old. You're 87 years old. It's $307 a month. That's a tough pitch. It's not easy. But I told her, hey, this is going to make sure your family's taken care of if anything happens to you. They're getting a tax-free check versus going down to the funeral home and realizing you've only paid 2 or 3 grand into this thing and trying to come up with 10 or $15,000 to pay for your funeral. So what's the issue here?
Mm.
Now she's in. She realizes what it is, what we're doing. That I'm genuinely, when I talk to people, I'm like, hey, like I'm genuinely Trey. I'm just trying to help you and your family.
Yeah,
I don't really care what insurance company it's with, but I'm trying to show you the opportunity that's in front of you.
right. I've heard you do that. And we're going to get directly into some of the things you say on the phone because some of the things you say on the phone are like some of the best things I've ever heard, actually. Uh, there's one. I think I probably have repeated this one thing probably 150 times since I heard you say it because it was so funny, but it was so true. And Alex is laughing because he knows exactly what it is I'm going to say because he was sitting next to you. That's funny. Um, all right. So tell us about how much are you spending a week on leads, do you think, right now?
Um, Bare minimum 6,500 a month. I do supplement that a little bit. So it comes out bare minimum like 1,750 or 1,700 or so a week on leads. And then I'll supplement that a little bit. If I decide I don't have enough people to talk to, my pickup rate's not what I'd like it to be. I'm willing right now to put up to about 25 a week into it. So I have no problem spending $10,000 in a month on leads. It's just the cost of doing business. I want
Yeah,
people to talk to because that's how I help people. I don't help people unless I get people on the phone.
amen to that. And I tell you what, man, you learned that by like the second month. That's why you've been able to write so much.
Yeah.
There's people on this call. I mean, I'm not calling nobody out, and they're not on this call. It's the ones that miss this call. That's what I should say. There's people that should be on this call that have been here for years that still haven't figured that part out. Like, how did you adapt to that so quickly? And what I want you to really talk about is your reason why you're doing this, because I think I told a bunch of people before we got on this call. Um, we met you and a group of other agents, me and Steven, and we went to go to the bathroom during the meeting, and that was our chance to talk behind y'all's back. That's what we were doing. And the conversation was like, we should just leave, except for Blake. Like Blake could really do it. And we actually said that. So when he came back, plus we are going to pay for y'all's food anyway. But that's really actually what happened. So there were some things you said at that meeting, and I'll draw that out. But the first thing is, um, how'd you get so comfortable buying that many leads so quickly, and what's your reason? What's your why to do this?
My real why, I have two big reasons on my why. My first why, once I came to FFL, I had just had my first child. Her name's Sophia. She's a little bit over 6 months old now, but I want to be able to provide a life that, you know, we had what we needed growing up as a kid. We had a house, we had food, bills were paid, but we didn't have this ability to do, hey, let's go here. Let's get that. It was kind of, oh, it's back to school shopping. Hey, the budget's $200. Pick out some shirts and some pants and a backpack, but we got to keep it cheap. So that's my first why. I want to be able to provide that life for my fiance, my future wife, my baby. I really want to be able to provide that life that, I mean, I was taken care of, don't get me wrong, but I want to be able to provide what I wasn't able to have. There's a couple other big whys. Another big why, want to be able to purchase our first home here next year. Still very fortunate. I get to live with my family. I help out, pay the bills, things like that. But I want to be able to have our own place that we can call home. And I'm picky. I like nice things. I want to be able to have that beautiful house. I don't want to have to go get an apartment or get a small house and move in 2 years and da 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 da. My other really big why, at a really young age, I got to learn what love was, and not necessarily like the cute lovey-dovey love that everyone thinks about. I only have one sibling, and that's my sister. I call her my little big sister. Reason being, she's 32 years old. She just had her birthday last week, but she's special needs. And with that came a realization at a young age, hey, my parents are already getting older. They're not going to be able to take care of her forever. And I want to be able not only to have some time to enjoy my life, but I want to be able to make sure she's taken care of down the road, because my parents aren't going to be able to do it forever. And ultimately, Hanan always says this, but nothing's free but a smile. So I need to know that I have things set aside, things in place, that if I want to be able to kind of enjoy my life and keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be able to pay someone to take care of her, but not only at a facility or something. I want someone to be able to take care of her in home where we live. That way I know I can look over and say, yep, she's taken care of. So that was the other real big motivation for me in this, because my parents are almost 60 now. So I've kind of realized I have 20 years, give or take, to really make sure that my family's taken care of. I'm starting a family. I got a fiance. We're going to get married. We already have a baby. I want to make sure my end's taken care of. But at the same time, my sister's my family. I love my sister. I don't want her to ever go to a care facility, a place someone takes care of her. I want to know that ultimately in 10, 15, 20 years, whatever the case may be, I'm able to make sure my parents are taken care of because they took care of me. And I want to be in a spot where I can take care of them and my sister and not have to stress on, man, how am I going to pay for this?
So just to decide here, when y'all are recruiting agents and you tell them how hard this is, like this isn't easy. There's chargebacks. People are going to hang up on you. They're going to tell you to pound sand. You got to work 10 hours a day. Why do you think you'd be good at this? That's what we did, Blake. And then Blake said that. And that's when we went to the bathroom. We're like, we got to get him. Like, he's not going to quit when somebody tells him no. If we say you got to buy leads, he'll do it. Like, he's serious. He has a reason. Hopefully, y'all get that. Like, that sold me. I was so sold on that. It's like, he'll run. You don't understand. Like, he'll do it. He's going to do it. He understands what hard is. So, thank you, Blake, for that. I'm glad you shared that. Um, that'll always stick out to me. We'll be talking about this 10 years from now about how powerful that was for me. Let's get into some of the specifics about the actual calling. How many hours do you think you work a day? When do you start? How do you measure a good, successful day? Like when you walk into the day, by the end of the day, what has to happen in order for you to say that was a good day?
Good day for me. I try to stick in bare moans minimum 8 hours. I typically work 6 days a week. So, if you do 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, it's 48 hours a week. A lot of days I try to run 10, get here, start at 8 or start at 9, work 8 to 6 or 9 to 7. A lot of times I end up staying here till 8. People are home, they answer the phone. So I get a lot of good contact between about 5 and 8 in the evening. The other big thing I've spent a lot of time focusing on when I first started, I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't dial enough. Now I need to dial more. That's the activity. But the other flip to that coin was realizing I made so many dials, how many people actually answered the phone? Because I don't want to sit here all day and listen to a dial tone. I don't want to do that. So I got to a point where I realized my pickup rate sucks. What can I do to better it? I want a pickup rate. I want to be on the phone. So I started kind of playing around with things. I started buying local area codes, having a local presence. And that really got me to a point where I have no less than a 10% pickup rate. Some days my pickup rate's around 20, 25%. So people are answering the phone. And then that moves me into my other two measures of success in the day. How many times did I actually sit down, run through the situation, see what it was they're worried about, ask those health questions, get them kind of uncomfortable, and actually present? Because until you can make 700-800 dials in a day, how many people did you talk to? How many people did you present to? How many families did you ultimately help? And that's really the three things I focus on a day-to-day basis. I've had some days I only make like 190 dials, but I helped like 5 families. I helped 4 families. I didn't have to sit there pressing call, 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 call to try to get, 2 presentations out of a day. That sucks. I don't want to do that. I want to get people on the phone that are looking for this, basically present my case, show them what I got to offer, and see if they're in. So that was the
Amen.
huge thing for me. Ultimately, making sure I get like bare minimum 5 prezzies a day. Even if I didn't write anything that day, if you keep hitting that same, 20, 25, 30 so odd prezzies a week, it's going to come together. It's just a numbers game. You present to
Yeah,
30 people, there's probably 10 or 12 people in there that actually want what you're offering. So that was a huge focus for me. After about a first month, I was like, dude, like I'm cranking all these dials. I'm sitting here, call, 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 and I'm not talking to anyone. How can I actually talk to people?
very good. Okay, so I'm just going to let you rip on this. So if you could just break down your phone presentation and just give us an idea of what you say and why you say it. You said something earlier to me about, trying to get to the why within the first 30 seconds or a minute. I thought it was really powerful, and I know you have a lot of things to share like that. So just kind of give us an idea of what your phone presentation looks like. If you need me to role play, I will, and give us some of the science behind what you're doing or the art behind what you're doing.
Let's role play it.
Ring ring.
Hey, Trey.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, this is Blake Berger. I'm getting back to you about a form you filled out a while back for state regulated funeral and burial coverage. It was the one where you put
Yes,
your date of birth as XYZ. Is that right?
that's correct.
Awesome. So what's kind of going on, Trey? What made us want to take a look at this today? Was it just something, was there a death in the family? Did you have a health scare or did you just think it was time?
I just thought it was time.
Awesome. So, you're 75 years old. You thought, probably time to take a look at this. Now, with that being
Yes.
with that being said, were you looking to go in the ashes or were you looking to go in the ground?
Uh, the ground, I think.
Okay, so you're just looking to get a burial. Now, with that being said, have you done a little bit of shopping around with that? Do you know the average cost of a burial that's we're looking at these days?
Mm, not really.
Okay, so state recommended amount, if you're keeping it simple, they recommend about $10,000 to $15,000 in coverage. That's not being super fancy. That's not having a gold trimmed casket. That's just covering a simple burial. Ultimately, that's what we want to look for to make sure your family doesn't have to come out of pocket for this. Now, with that being said, who's going to be handling your final arrangements, Trey?
Um, my son,
Okay, your son. What's your son's name?
Emery.
Emery. Okay, beautiful. So we're looking to get something put into place ultimately so Emery doesn't have to bear the burden of your passing. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. So my job's pretty simple here for you today, Trey. I want to make sure you're covered and I want to make sure Emery's taken care of. So what we're going to do, my job as an underwriter to ask some very basic health questions. From there, I'm going to submit that information to all of the carriers that we work with here in states, about 30 of the A-rated carriers. They're going to actually compete for your business. So what that means, I get to do the shopping for you. You don't really have to shop around. I get to do the shopping for you. We're going to find you the best rates for coverage. From there, we want to submit a quick enrollment packet to see if we can get you approved for the coverage. That way you don't have to worry about this for Emory anymore. Okay, Trey?
Okay.
Now, with that being said, is there any other things we're worried about? What else? Obviously, it's more than just a burial you're passing. Does Emery live out of state or does he live close by?
He lives close by.
Okay, that's good because a lot of people don't think about if their family lives far away, there's travel cost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In addition to that, we want to also think about Emery's going to have to take some time. Emery probably has a job. Emery probably has a family. So we want to provide him with a little something extra. That way he's not stressing about taking care of his family while he's trying to take care of you. The other question I like to ask my clients is, do you rent or
Oh,
own your
hold on a
home?
second. Let me fix this. Mute all. Yes. Okay, and then you just unmute. Like,
So that's
okay,
another nugget I like to ask clients too. Do they rent or own their home?
okay.
So now we're
I
not only looking
I
at
own it.
burial. You own your home. Awesome. Is
Yes,
there a mortgage? Is there a mortgage on the home still?
2,600 a month,
Okay, so you got a
or
20.
I owe 400,000.
Okay, you owe 400,000 on the home. Have you done a little bit of looking around lately to see what that home's worth? Obviously, you
Yeah,
owe 400,000. You probably got some equity in it, right?
it's worth about 8.
It's worth about eight. So you got about $400,000 in equity in the home. So ultimately, looking at leaving money behind to the family isn't necessarily going to be through this life insurance policy. It's going to make sure the bills are paid immediately. But what we want to look at for something for you, it's going to buy Emery time. Now, would Emery be able to afford a $2,600 mortgage on top of what his family, his cost every month?
No,
No.
definitely not.
So we want to look at something. I'm going to recommend a program that's going to buy him some time. So we're going to look at something that'll not only cover the burial, but it'll buy him 3, 6, and 9 months. That's what we're going to look at. So this is going to make sure the bills are paid for the burial. It's going to get him a chance to go to the home, clean up all your valuable possessions and things that he wants to keep, get the house fixed up. It's going to give him some time to get the home listed on the market because real estate isn't something we can get rid of in 2 weeks. And ultimately, if you have $400,000 in equity, we want to make sure that he can get the most equity out of that home. We don't want to have to fire sale the house for $200,000 below market value because ultimately, if he can't keep up the mortgage, that 400 grand in equity is going back to the bank.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what we want to look at. So we're going to ask some basic health questions, see if you've had any major things going on, any history of a stroke, heart attack, AFib, lung, liver, kidney problems, the basics, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. And then we're going to go from there. I'm going to show you some options that'll not only take care of the burial, but it'll buy you anywhere from 3, 6 to 9 months in time to give Emery some time to not only sell the house, but grieve. Make sure everything's taken care of and buy you guys some time. That way he can get that 400,000 in equity from the home and it doesn't end up going back to the bank.
I love it. Okay. So, all right, we can stop at that part. So, then you get into financial inventory, you ask me health stuff, you show me some options, you get into the application. Um, One of the things that you said one time, and it was so funny because you had the lady on the phone and she was giving you some pushback, and you said, "Listen, this is usually this is a very simple process unless you decide to give me a hard time," or whatever. It's the best line ever.
Yeah,
But
takes 10 minutes if you don't give me a hard time. It's not that hard.
but what I loved about it was like, what do you do when you get pushback early on in the call? Like, what are some of the things? Because what I notice a lot of agents do is they wrestle people they shouldn't wrestle. Like the people aren't going to do it. I think when you really started to catch your stride, listening to you in the office, it was like if they weren't going to do it, you would just get off the phone and you'd go on to the next one because you knew there was somebody waiting for you to call them. And now at that point you had enough leads too. But what's some of the pushback you get, and how do you handle it? And where do you get the pushback typically?
Um, Recently I haven't got as much push. The biggest pushback tends to be the thinkers, oh, I want to think about it. As far as like social and bank goes, I don't really get a whole lot of push at this point in time. I read them the HIPAA Act as well as giving them all my state licensing information. So at that point, if they're trying to give me any push, I honestly get mad at them and I'm like, are you literally calling me a scammer after I gave you all my state license information and told you I'm going to spend 10 years in federal prison and face up to $250,000 fines if I try to empty out your overdrawn Direct Express account? Really? Like what are we talking about here? But the one thing, when they kind of start to give me a little bit of push, even like early on in the call, I'll go straight back into the why. And I was like, oh yeah, so remember your son Emery? He wanted to make sure the burial's taken care of for him and that he's not going to lose $400,000 in equity on the home. That's why I'm on the phone with you trying to help you. Remember that? Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest with each other here. You have nothing in place. What do you have in place currently? Oh yeah, nothing. You have 400,000 in equity on the home. Okay, cool. How's that going to help Emery next week when you're dead? It's not. He's going to have a
Yeah.
$2,600 mortgage payment that he can't afford, and he's going to have a $15,000 burial bill. So that's why we're on the phone, right? Okay, cool. And then I'll run straight back into it. I'll kind of remind him, hey, why we're on the phone? Because I coughed that up early. I made him cough it up. Why are we on the phone? And then I'll remind them why we're on the phone and get right back to the beat.
And hopefully you guys noticed, as he was talking to me, he was weaving that in all the time. It was about, we're doing this for Emery. This is what Emery's going to do. This is what it's for him. Like his whole conversation was based on like the beneficiary, how it was going to protect them, how it was going to help them, and very uh, saying emotional things, but not high and low, just very predictable and steady. So it's pretty powerful. Um, what are some other things? What are some things you changed about how you were presenting? What were some big hiccups in the beginning that, like I'll give you all an example. Like my son, Harper, my youngest son, he was trying to be the pitcher on the baseball team. Okay. So the coach on the baseball team, he didn't know nothing about pitching. So he was giving him bad advice. And then we watched 60 different YouTube videos on all the different tricks on how my son could be like a good pitcher. So we had all these drills and all these things we were doing. And then there's a guy in town. You live in the same town as me. I don't know if you know Bucky Buckles. You know who that is?
Me?
Yeah. You know
Oh,
Blake Bucky?
I don't know anything that involves a ball.
Okay. So Bucky Buckles is like a legend where we live. Like he was the closing pitcher for the 1996 College World Series Oklahoma Sooners. And so we take my kid, Harper, to go do pitching lessons with Bucky. And the thing that was so profound is Harper couldn't throw the ball straight at all. Like he threw it into the wall. Like he couldn't, he threw it over there. He can't throw it straight at all. Within a 10-minute lesson, my kid was throwing strikes. And what was so profound was the stuff that Bucky didn't do. Because we were watching all this fancy stuff to do, but actually I learned more from what Bucky didn't do to get my kids to throw straight than to like all the stuff he was doing that was fancy. So what are some of those fundamentals? Like if you get off track in the presentation and it didn't go your way, like what are some of those things that you're checking and saying, well, did I do this? Did I do that? Did I mess this up? Should I left this out? What are those major things as you look back?
As far as a presentation goes, I mean, my Prezi's changed a lot since I've got started. I dropped a script. I know my script now, and it's different for every person. Ultimately, I try to touch base on the human element. We're talking to an actual person on the line. They have their own worries, they have their own wishes. I've talked to people, they don't even want their kids to be a beneficiary. They wanted it to be an organization, something else. But the one thing for me has really been realizing we're talking to an actual human on the line, trying to connect with them at a personal basis. That's been a huge win for me. When things start getting off track, I just circle right back to the why. When they try to start rambling or going off on a tangent, I'll just ask them a question. I'll interrupt them right in the middle of a sentence. I'm like, Trey, remember what we were doing for Emery? Boom, right back onto the game. Because I don't want to
Yeah.
listen to someone ramble on the phone for half an hour. Because now they're running
Right.
the call. They're running the call. This is my circus.
Amen to that.
This is
Dude,
my
that was
circus. You don't go to the doctors and start ranting to the doctor about what you think you need. I'm telling
right.
you, as the financial professional, and I'll tell people too, I'm like, can I just give you like an honest, like professional opinion on this? Like, I'm just being honest. I'm just trying to help you. This is honestly what I'd recommend for you, someone in your case, because everyone's different. Every person I talk to on the phone's got a different thing going on. So I try to connect to them at a human level. Because if you're just reading the same script every time, you're going to get a different problem each time. That's been something I kind of started to realize early on was like, I'd talk for like 5 minutes before I'd figure out even like why we were on the phone. And then if you establish 30 seconds on in the call, hey, I'm here to make sure your burial's taken care of and your son gets some money for the house, they're going to stay on the phone. That's
Amen.
been
Yeah, that's
a
right.
huge change for me. It's like, hey, this is why we're talking together. Another thing I can kind of ask, what I've started doing too, have you been looking around for this for a while? If they tell me, yeah, I've been looking around for 2 years, they might just be dying without the coverage. You're
Yeah,
82 and you're still looking around, you had plenty of time to shop around. I'm 27. I'll actually remind them too. I'll say, hey, I'm 27 and I have life insurance coverage for X, Y, and Z. Do I think I'm dying at 27 years old? No. Do I plan on dying at 27 years old? No. But there is this thing called life that we're living and life happens. That's why we have it. And I'll even ask them too. You got insurance on your car? You still drive? Yeah. Can you go buy a new car? Yeah. Can Emery go buy a new dad? No. So we want to, if something happens to dad, we want to make this as easy of a transition as possible. Because it's not as simple as going down to the dealership and buying a new car. We're dealing with lives and we can't replace them. And then I'll get
yep.
back into it. Hey, so that's why we're on the phone. This is what we're looking to do. Okay, cool. So I want to get you in a better spot tomorrow than you were in today when we first hopped on the phone. I want you and your family to actually be in a better spot tomorrow. I want the future to be prepared for and taken care of. Because ultimately, you can go buy another car tomorrow, but your family isn't replacing you tomorrow if you pass away.
I love that. That's great. That is great. Um, that was super impactful. Jeez. And it's really interesting because so there's some people on this call, I just have to put this in. Like they need to stick to the script. They haven't done enough reps yet.
Mm-mm.
Like in the beginning, you read it word for word because you didn't understand the structure of what you were trying to do. But once you got the structure down and you're on live dials every day and you're dialing with other people in the office and you're listening and you're picking up the different elements, they're finding the why early on. They're bringing it back to the beneficiary. They're interrupting people. They're being bold. They're getting off the phone when they need to get off the phone. They're challenging people appropriately. You're picking up all the things that they're saying. And now you understand the framework of how to build the value before you ask for the price. So you can go on your own now. Like that's you can make it your own. And once you make it your own, now you can pay attention to the human part of what it is that we're trying to do. I mean, Jamie Euphemia on this call probably the best call we ever had. But that was pretty much the whole topic was like this call's floating around out there, Blake. But the whole topic was like, you got to remember these are people. Like you're presenting them a plan. Like this is what it's about. So super powerful what you said there. If somebody's struggling and they aren't where they want to be, what's your best advice for them?
Buy some more leads, pound the phone, plug in. Plug in. There's nuggets everywhere. I pick a piece of everyone's when I'm on live dials. I like that. I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna throw that in my next presentation. But ultimately, it's getting reps in. It's getting on the phone. It's talking to people. It's getting beat up. I mean, I'm 4 months into doing this. I'm not the guy. I'm not. But I've taken everything that's available to me and I've ran with it. We're blessed to just be able to buy leads. I can just go buy leads. If I want to talk to more people, just buy some more leads. Cool. That's been
That's right.
the real thing for me is how can I get on the phone? How can I talk to people? From there, I mean, we can adjust things as we roll. In the presentations too, I was doing a while ago, building the value, then giving options, but then there's this awkward lull where they're like, oh, I have to pick one now. Like he's gonna close me. So I'll have them write down like the three options we're looking at, and then I'll build all the value. I'm like, all right, write down 6 bullet points for me, please. First thing, permanent coverage, guaranteed insurability till age 120. Next thing is locked in rate. Next thing, tax free. Next thing, living benefit. Next thing, day one immediately effective coverage. Next thing, cash value. So that first option we talked about, that's going to be able to pay for your burial and give Emery this much time to get the home sold. This option, it's going to pay for the burial, give them this much time. This option, maybe it's someone that didn't have a home and they're really tight on cash. This option is going to make sure the bases are covered. It's not going to leave anything behind, but it is not going to leave them a bill behind. That's what it's not going to leave behind. It's going to leave them enough money to get the family taken care of. They're not going to have to max out credit cards, go to the bank and pull a personal loan, or have a GoFundMe or a car wash, because you wouldn't want that for your son, right? Okay, cool. Now we're going to go into the app. So that's been one thing I've done. It's not like, oh gosh, they're going to close me. Like, what do I do? Give them all the options, then build a bunch of value in it. And now they're like, wow, like that option for $400 a month sounds pretty good, because it's not just covering a burial. It's doing this, it's doing that. It's going to provide our family this. I like that. Now it's deeper than just, hey, it's just going to pay for my burial. Who cares? I'll get another one if I need to.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Well, great job. This has been a phenomenal call, Blake. If you guys got a lot out of this call, put a one in the chat. Show Blake some love. Good
And
job.
and I always like to say too, a lead's a lead. Everyone thinks it's this, there's like the, oh, it's this one lead type that's gonna do it for me. Ultimately, focus on your pickup rate. Because from there, once you get them on the phone, you can dive into the situation and see what we're gonna make of this lead. I talked to a lead a while ago. It was a $3 age lead from March. When I initially talked to them, it was kind of running on like a final expense program. I called him when I was at the lock-in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not really worried about my burial anymore." And I'm like, "Okay, why not? Like, have you been blessed with some money? Like, what's changed?" He's like, "Yeah, I sold a private equity deal out of part of my company. I got mid seven figures for it." Like, whoa, okay, what's that? Dude just got a check for $5.5 million.
Nice.
So
So
2 days later, that's a follow-up call with an annuity illustration showing them, hey, this is going to provide not only you, but it's going to provide your wife as well until you guys pass $150,000 a year in tax-free income. Now we've
nice.
built some value into that, versus he's like, hey, bro, I just got a bunch of money. I don't care anymore. I'm like, cool. You do care still. I want to see what we can do for you. You can put 2 million bucks into this, and it's going to provide your wife with 150 grand a year tax free until you pass. So that might be my first annuity off a $3 age lead.
Dude,
So
that'd
that
be a really
was
good one.
that wasn't an annuity lead. That wasn't anything special. It was an old $3 final expense lead. But if you ask the right questions, you can get some pretty good answers.
That is the truth. That was powerful. You've only been doing this 4 months. Guys, I've never seen a time in the history of FFL that somebody doing it 4 months can impart so much freaking wisdom because they're able to get so many daggum reps. This telesales thing is amazing. We didn't used to have this. This is the best this opportunity's ever been. Like, we need to go find more people like Blake that got a strong reason they're willing to work. And Blake, we need to recruit all your friends that'll work like you. The fishing boat guys, we got to get those guys. They work. So,
Gosh, that's the hardest I've ever worked. When I'm having a bad day, I'll think back to that and I'm like, dude, I remember when I was on my feet for 36 hours straight and the only time I sat down was to eat dinner for 10 minutes. I
mhm.
literally was on my feet for 36 hours straight with not a break and not a nap. This ain't that hard. It's really not. I can sit at home, I can sit in an office, and I make phone calls. Is it
Amen.
that tough? No.
Definitely. All right. Well, I love this. Well, thank you for jumping on. I could do a whole another hour. Thanks. This was one of the best calls we've ever had, Blake. We'll make sure we get the recording out. We'll put it on YouTube. You guys hit Blake up for your team calls. He's happy to help, and this has been great. We got to get Blake on at Ignite in October. I'm going to put you on the list to present if you go out there. So thanks
West
for
Palm
jumping on.
Beach. Be
Yes.
there or be square. Buy a plane ticket. It's a blessing to be
Amen.
here. Thank you so much for having me, Trey.
All right. Thanks for jumping on, guys. You guys make it a great week.